So today's broadcast is going to kind of dovetail into last couple of broadcasts that I've done on setting goals and optimizing those goals and staying motivated. I know that can be a difficult thing for anyone, and we can get in this squeeze between how do I become more productive and reach my goals and optimize my life and meet all of this pressure to be successful and be the best I can be, but at the same time not get burned out. How do I not become so lazy and lackadaisical that I just settle for sitting on the couch and not getting anything done? And sometimes we can tend to swing back and forth and overshoot and work really, really hard and then collapse and end up not getting anything done. And it's a big, huge pendulum swing back and forth. This is what happens to most people. We run until we burn out and then we can't function. And we're stuck doing nothing. And this is not a healthy cycle. It's not good for the body. It's not good for the mind. It's not good for our relationships. It's not good for our spirit. No part of us benefits from the binge and diet swing. And that's not just true for nutrition. That's true for every part of our life. We tend to work either too hard or not hard enough and have a hard time finding this balance in between. So today I wanted to talk to you about how do you balance productivity and well-being. The truth is, if you have a healthy sense of productivity and a healthy sense of well-being, they should fuel one another. They should actually benefit each other. When you see them as complementary, it's easier to keep them in balance and you won't have this binge and starve cycle going on in your life. The purpose and benefits of your self-care should be oriented to becoming better at what you do. And if you see it that way, with that axe sharpening premise, then you can continue to work better in a complement of working for the right reasons and staying healthy for the right reasons. It's that old story, you may have already heard it, it's been around a long time, about the two lumberjacks that were in a competition. One stopped every hour and spent a few minutes sharpening his axe, and the other one never stopped and continued chopping away at the tree. And lo and behold, the one who stopped every hour actually won the contest. So if you stop to sharpen your axe, because your axe, your mind, your body, your spirit, and your heart is more productive when you're working, you actually end up getting more done, and you get it done with greater excellence. And that's the key. Getting more done isn't always better when the thing that you're producing, the person that you have become in the midst of being productive, is not benefiting people. So we don't want to work so hard at something that we're producing a bad quality, whether that's service or a product. You cannot produce well when you are not the person you need to be while you're doing it. So you also don't want to get to the point where you've become so slothful and withdrawn that you're miserable because you're not being productive, not being purposeful. That can be just as degrading to your sense of well-being. So here's how you do that. First, you need to schedule time to tune your mind, your body, your heart, and your spirit. These are appointments that you have to set, and they need to be a priority. If there's an emergency, and you have to be careful how you define what's an emergency. A lot of people will try to define that for you. So be careful. Be very careful to let anything come into that time. You don't want to be a Nazi about your time, but you do want to make sure that you protect it so that if there is an emergency, something urgent happens, you have to take your kid to the hospital, then you can't go to the gym, obviously, if you're taking your kid to urgent care because he broke his arm. But the next day, you need to schedule that time to go back to the gym. You need to get right back to the thing that you eliminated from your schedule due to the emergency immediately. You don't allow 3 weeks to go by because something happened that day that pulled you out of your routine. Does that make sense? Hopefully that's making sense. You schedule these things as a priority. Schedule your doctor appointments, your well visits. Schedule your dental care. Schedule, if you have a headache like I did yesterday. I had such a debilitating headache because I had waited way too long. I was trying to set it as a goal so that I could reward myself by taking care of my muscle tension, but I couldn't wait any longer. So finally my body said, you're just not working today. You can't do anything else. You just got to take care of this. So eventually your body, your mind, your spirit will catch up to you, and you will no longer be able to be productive until you take care of the things that you need to take care of. So I'm not saying this as someone who's never experienced that process. I do all the time. And so one of my goals is going to be to make sure the reason and the functioning of my purpose are aligned with the way I'm taking care of who I am doing them. So get back on track ASAP when you need to reschedule your self-care. Your mind, body, heart, and spirit, to say all those together, wound up in one of who you are. All those aspects of who we are need rest. We need reflection. We need engagement with our community, and we need nourishment in order to function. We need, for example, 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Everybody's slightly different, but there are no people that I've known of that have scientifically, medically proven that they need 5 hours of sleep or less. Really, the body is not designed to function without a certain amount of sleep. And the same goes true for a day off from work. Everyone needs a day of relaxation, rest, and recovery every week, at least one. And from time to time, we need to take time away and have 2 or 3 days where we're not going full steam ahead with work, and we're learning to experience things for the benefit of our mind and our spirit and our heart, not just for working full time all the time. You need to feed all the parts of who you are so that who you are while you're working is someone other people benefit from. You become so focused on the analysis and the process of your work that you forget to be a human being. If you don't allow those artistic, wonderful elements of who we are with other people and experiencing nourishing input for our mind and our spirit, that's very, very important. Otherwise, what you do is not going to be beneficial. So make sure that you schedule time for rest, reflection, engagement with other people. Your relationships are important. And nourishment. Nourishing your mind by learning, by reading. And we'll get into some of these elements a little bit more in future Periscope broadcasts. I'm going to get to some details about those next. Any aspect that you starve, whether it's your mind, your body, your spirit, your heart, meaning your relationships and how you love and feel loved, any of those things that you starve, your soul, anything you starve, will cripple all those other elements. So you can't just work on part of who you are and expect everything else to be okay. You have to make sure you have time for each one of those parts of who you are. It sounds time consuming. It's really not. You can take small amounts of time to every day take care of those things, every week take care of those things, every month take care of those things. If it's scheduled in regularly in small doses, you're fine. You don't have to spend a huge amount of time. It's when we crash because we haven't taken care of it at all that it takes a lot of time to recoup. So make sure you don't starve any part of your areas and become unproductive. Overindulgence is often because we have not taken care of something and we crash and we have to spend lots of time, or we don't feel like doing it anymore. We've become burned out. So that can be an overcompensation for having not taken care of ourselves. It can also, if it hasn't been that you've been productive before, you may just not know how. And we can get into a rut of not producing, of not contributing to our world. And that also leads to a sense of miserable, it's like a stagnancy. We are not designed to be stagnant and not contribute. The human mind, body, heart, and spirit longs to benefit the world around it. That is part of how we're designed, and that is where much of our happiness comes from, is from being purposeful. So There are different ways in which any of us can be purposeful at different seasons of our life, but we all long to have a goal of benefiting the world. If you're a mom with little kids, part of your benefiting the world is benefiting them right now. So that doesn't mean you have to go out and solve world hunger while you're taking care of your toddlers. That's not what I'm talking about. But being productive in some way, or could be toward those kids. If you are shut in your home and you do not have the opportunity to go out and interact with a lot of people, there are people you can pray for. And that is a way of benefiting the world and continuing to be productive. So there are ways that each of us, no matter where we are in our seasons of life, are blessing the world around us. And that's an important part of our well-being. So make sure you look for that. And in certain seasons, you may need to be creative in how you frame that, but you need to frame something in your life around blessing the world around you. Even if it's being a blessing to the people who are caring for you, that can be your impact on the world. If you are being cared for, the way you receive the care can be how you bless the world around you. The way that you respond to the people around you can be your impact. Everyone touches somebody, and everything that you do matters. But make sure that you don't begin to see yourself as unimportant and stagnant and in a rut where you're not doing anything to touch anyone else, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, or in business and career. So make sure that you don't become stagnant and you are continuing to offer the contributions that you're meant to for the season of life that you're in. Know your vision and your purpose, and that's where a spirit-guided life can be so powerful. If you are connected with the Holy Spirit, that can give you such an eternal and impactful sense of vision and purpose, and it will also give you the perfect balance in who you are and what you do. See, it's not just what we do, it's who we are as we do it that matters the most. We can do a million wonderful things, but if we're the worst person in the world while we do them, it's not going to be as great of a blessing. So allowing your life to be spirit-guided, know your divinely ordained why. And if you have not established that yet, keep seeking. You will find it. So seek that as you are taking care of yourself and reaching out in even the smallest ways to be a blessing to people around you. It will change you as you are being kind to others around you. That can be a small thing or a big thing. Sometimes the biggest impact on other people comes from the smallest acts of kindness that we do. We can change their day, which can change someone else's day, which can change the world. And you would be surprised at how small acts of kindness leave a fragrance of blessing around you that change the attitudes of all the people you interact with. It can change the way they benefit others and how productive those people will become. So just little ways of being a blessing and being a contribution can sometimes make the most difference. So that's all I'm going to give you today. I'm going to do some more on this subject because it's a big topic, and I think we have room to discuss some of the details later. In the meantime, go to my website, and that's www.divineencouragement.com, and give me some comments. What are some specifics that you're looking for in determining balance between productivity and wellness? What are some questions that you have? What are some tips that you have that can help other people who are listening to this broadcast? So until then, until next time, be encouraged and have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.